Hey, this video is to show you how to make a paint palette for acrylic painting. There's lots of different ways you can make your own palette, and there's tons of palettes that you can buy out there on the market, but I find that this is the most cost-effective way to do a palette that lasts for a long time, and you don't have to throw away your paint. So we'll use a piece of cardboard. There's already, you can see these pieces of cardboard have been used in the past by multiple students. And then we just take off the plastic and we reuse the cardboard. So don't worry if there's already a name or more than one name on your piece of cardboard. You can just cross it out and put your name. So you're going to get a piece of cardboard and you need plastic wrap, which I have right here. So the first thing you do is put the plastic wrap over the cardboard like this. And make sure that the piece of plastic wrap is bigger than the piece of cardboard. Okay. So plastic wrap is on here. Then I'm going to flip it upside down like this. And on all four edges, so that this plastic wrap doesn't scoot around and move around, I'm going to tape it down pretty tight so that the plastic wrap is not wrinkly on the front. It doesn't have to be perfectly tight on the front, but tight enough that it's not going to move around. Okay, so I'm just using masking tape. If I can get it to start. Okay, there we go. I'm going to give myself a nice long piece of masking tape, and then I can tear off little pieces. Okay, so I'm tearing off a little piece, taping this corner. So I pulled it fairly tight in that corner before I taped it on. Let me do another one. Okay, and then I'm going to do this corner. So first I'm going to pull it so that it's, not wrinkled up on the front. And then tape that down. I can also put a little piece right here. All right, and then I'll turn this around so you can see this corner. Again, I'm pulling it so that it's going to be tight across the front. And then I have to tape that section. Put a little piece right here too. You got to make sure this plastic stays down. Otherwise, if you don't tape it down, you'll find that it'll be really annoying to have to have plastic that moves around when you go to mix your paints on the palette later. So trust me when I say you definitely want to tape this down fairly tight. Okay. And this is my last corner. So again, I'm pulling it so that, see how it's tight across the top? Some little wrinkles like that are totally fine as long as it's not like bunched up on the front. Okay. All right. So I'm going to tape down my last corner. I need to get myself a little more tape. Okay. So all four corners have been taped down now. And if it looks like you need any extra tape, you can just make it extra secure. So I'm just going to go like this and really make sure that that plastic doesn't move. Maybe I'll do one on this side too. All right, so now we should be good. That plastic shouldn't go anywhere. Okay, so now you've got one side of the cardboard that's totally covered in plastic. You're not going to be using the back side. And then on the back side is where you want to write your name. So if there's already a name on there, like this one used to be Kelly's palette, just cross that out. Okay, and then write your name. It's also good to write the period. So write your period also. Sorry, this camera view is not big enough. Okay, so write your name and definitely write which period you're in also, because these tend to get moved around the classroom and misplaced. And if you have your period on it, I can always know where to put it back, which drying rack to put it back on. Okay. All right. So once you've got your palette made like that, you're going to keep using this same palette for the whole painting project. Now, there might not be time in class today to add paint to your palette, depending on if this is a block period or not when you're watching this. You may just make your palette today and then maybe the next day add paint to it. But I'm going to show you how to add paint and then to keep your paint wet for many, many days using water bottle to spray the paint and then a top layer of plastic. So when you're ready to use paint, whether it's the same day you make your palette or the next day, you're going to have jars of paint like this. And then we use palette knives to scoop the paint out. Okay. And then you put your paint on your palette. We're not going to start with too much paint because you can always get more paint later. Okay. It's better to not have enough paint than have too much paint and waste it. So we start with just a small amount of paint in each of the colors that you need. I'm just going to demonstrate with one color right now, but eventually, you would have like colors lined up along the edge of your palette and then probably more colors lined up along this edge. And then you would use the rest of your palette to mix colors. Okay, so just pretend like I've got lots of colors all along the edge of my palette here in little blobs like that. And then I would paint with it. And then every day at the end of class, when it's time to clean up, instead of throwing this paint away, you take a water bottle. I have lots of these cleaning bottles that just don't have cleaning solution in it anymore. It's just water. And you're going to spray your whole palette. Okay, so spray water on the paint, but spray it all over the palette. So you can see I've got water droplets all over the palette. And then you only need to do this one time. You don't need to get new plastic for the top every single day, and I'll show you why. You're going to put a piece of plastic on top of your wet paints that you've sprayed, like that. And this time, you are not going to tape it down. Because trust me, if you tape this top layer down, it's never coming back up. So this time, you just fold the four sides down, like that. Okay? So it's just folded under, not taped down. So your bottom piece of plastic has to be taped down securely. Your top piece of plastic does not ever get taped down. Okay. Now, like I said, you're not going to get a new piece of top plastic every day. What you're going to do is when you come in to paint the next day, you're going to unwrap the top layer like this. And you're just going to fold it open on 3 of the sides like this. And you're going to leave the 4th side hanging, okay, like that. So see how it's hanging down? I'm not taking the plastic all the way off. I'm taking it almost all the way off to the edge, but not all the way. So here's I wish I had a bigger camera view so you guys could see the whole thing, but I don't. So I'm trying to have you see this as best as possible. So I took the plastic off from this side and peeled it this way. So this side, and this side all have the plastic off, but the plastic is still hanging off on the 4th side over here. And I'm just going to leave it like that while I'm painting. So for the whole class period the next day, I'm going to paint again. And then instead of getting new plastic for the top, I'm just going to simply put the same piece of plastic that's already still connected on one edge. I'm just going to carefully put it right back over the same spot. And see how this, because I didn't move it, I didn't take it completely off the palette, because I didn't move it, this went directly over the same pile again. So that this red paint that was stuck to this is going to just go right back over the original pile of red instead of mixing and messing up your other colors. Okay, so each day you do not need to get a new piece of top plastic. You just need to recover it. But every day before you recover it, you're going to spray with water. And that's going to make it so that you never have dried out paints on your palette. They're going to stay wet for the few weeks that you use it to make your painting. All right, and that's it. That's how you make your palette. Today you might just make the palette itself and not put paint on it yet. And that's okay, because the next class period you can fill up your palette with the colors of paint that you need for your particular painting and then begin using the paint. And you will be practicing some acrylic painting techniques before you paint your actual painting. All right, thanks.